We're simplifying radicals today, so we're just going to jump right in. So we're trying to find the square root of 72, and it doesn't have a perfect square. So let's figure out how we can break this down so that it has something, like has a perfect square in it. So let's figure out 72. We can break down into 9 times 3. Not 9 times 3, excuse me, 9 times 8. See, I'm getting ahead of myself. 9 times 8 is 72, and 9 can break down into 3 times 3. And 8 can break down into 2 times 4, which also breaks down into 2 times 2. So we can write out the prime factorization of 72. Instead of 72, we can write this as 3 times 3 times 2 times 2 times 2, because that's the prime factorization of it. 3 times 3 times 2 times 2 times 2. So I can write the square root of 72 as the square root of all of that, because it's the same thing. Now, to take the square root, I have to have 2 of the same number, right? I have to say, well, the square root of 3 times 3 is just 3, right? Because that's what that means. So let's look for pairs of 2, because I'm taking a square root. So I have a pair of 2 here, and I also have a pair of 2 here. So that means I can take that 3 outside, and I can also take the 2 outside, and it's going to get rid of those pairs. And then inside, I'm just left with a 2. So to finish this off, I have 6. Root 2 is my final simplified radical. Let's try 48. 48 is, let's see, 4 times 12. It doesn't really matter what you pick here because the prime factorization is going to end up the same. You're just going to break it down differently. That's 2 times 2, that's 6 times 2, that's 3 times 2. So our prime factorization of 48 is 2 times 2 times 3 times 2 times 2. So we could rewrite 48 as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. Then we could rewrite the square root of 48 as the same thing. Now let's look for pairs of 2's because we're taking a square root. So we need 2 in a pair. So we have 2 pairs, so we can take each of those outside and leave the 3 inside. And so in the end, we end up with 4 root 3 as our simplified answer for the square root of 48. Now let's look at 125. This is 5 times 25, and 25 is 5 times 5. So we can rewrite 125 as 5 times 5 times 5, which means we can rewrite the square root of 125 as the square root of 5 times 5 times 5. Now let's look for pairs. There's a pair of 5's, so we can take the 5 outside and leave the other 5 inside. So the square root of 125 equals 5 root 5. And you're done.